You don't fail because life is unfair. You don't fail because you didn't have a chance. You don't fail because someone else had more talent. The real reason you fail is because you stopped. You stopped showing up. You stopped being consistent. You stopped being honest with yourself. You wanted results without the work. You wanted the trophy without the training. You wanted to change, but you didn't want to pay the price of change. Failure isn't just some outside force. It's not the economy. It's not your parents. It's not the boss or the government. Failure is a quiet decision made in the dark. It's saying I'll do it tomorrow when you know tomorrow never comes. It's choosing comfort over courage, distraction over discipline. The truth is, we fail because we neglect the basics. We forget the simple disciplines, the little daily habits that compound into greatness. You don't need to do everything right. You just need to do the right things daily. Small things, repeated things, the boring things, the unseen things, because success is never loud in the beginning. It whispers to do it again and again and again. And that's why you fail. Not because you couldn't, but because you wouldn't. Not because the dream was too big, but because your habits were too small. If you want to stop failing, start by doing what others won't. Show up, shut out the noise, work while it's boring, and finish what you started. You can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. So decide today. Will you repeat the past or rebuild the future? Failure is not caused by external forces, but by internal choices. It's not the economy. It's not your family. It's not your boss or your background or your circumstances. Those things may shape your path, but they do not decide your outcome. The real battle is always within. It's the decisions you make when no one is watching, the little promises you break to yourself, the shortcuts you take when you think they won't matter. That's where failure begins. Not in one big moment, but in hundreds of small moments. When you choose ease over effort, when you choose distraction over discipline, when you choose excuses over responsibility. Most people never fail because of lack of talent. They fail because they lacked the consistency to use it. They knew what to do. They just didn't do it long enough to see it work. Your choices write your future. Word by word, day by day. Every decision either builds you or breaks you. Every habit either pushes you forward or pulls you back. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can control whether you keep going or give up, whether you complain or commit. Blaming the outside world is easy. It lets you off the hook. But nothing changes when you point fingers. Change only comes when you take ownership, when you stop waiting for conditions to be perfect, when you stop saying a someday and start saying a now. That's when the shift happens, not when life gets easier, but when you get stronger. The real reason people stay stuck is because they never look inward. They never ask, "Oh, what can I do better? Oh, how can I grow from this? Oh, where did I go wrong?" Your results are a mirror of your decisions. And when you change those decisions, your life starts to change. It's not out there. It never was. It's in here, in your daily choices, in your mindset, in your willingness to do the work. Failure isn't imposed, it's chosen. And so is success. Stopping quitting too soon is the real reason behind most failures. Not lack of ability, not lack of opportunity, but the decision to stop just before the breakthrough. Most people don't fail because they didn't have what it takes. They fail because they didn't stay long enough to see what was possible. They plant the seed, but they don't water it. They make the effort, but they don't give it time. They start with energy, but when the results don't come fast, they give up. Quitting feels justified when progress is slow. It feels reasonable when obstacles show up. But what it really does, it steals your chance. Success doesn't come to those who start. It comes to those who stay, those who persist, those who keep showing up even when no one is watching. Every dream takes time. Every great outcome is built on days when nothing seems to be happening. But something is happening under the surface. You just can't see it yet. Growth is invisible before it's undeniable. And that's where most people quit, right before the tide turns, right before the next level. They let frustration win. They let doubt whisper louder than belief. They let temporary discomfort rob them of permanent change. But here's the truth. Every time you quit, you train yourself to stop when things get hard. And every time you keep going, you build a different kind of muscle, the muscle of resilience, the power of endurance, the strength to stand when others fall. It's not about speed. It's about staying. It's about showing up one more time, trying one more time, trying one more time. believing one more time. You're closer than you think, closer than it feels, but you'll never know if you stop now. The real test is not how excited you are at the start. It's how committed you are in the middle. When it's quiet, when it's heavy, when it's boring, that's where success is forged. Stopping may feel like relief in the moment, but regret always weighs more than effort. So don't quit too soon. Your future depends on what you finish. Requires consistent effort, even in the smallest daily actions. It's not about grand gestures. It's not about one big move or one lucky break. It's about what you do quietly every single day. Success is built in the moments no one sees, in the habits you repeat when no one is clapping, in the discipline you hold on to when motivation fades. The truth is, anyone can start strong, but only the consistent finish strong. You don't become successful by showing up once in a while. You become successful by showing up every day, especially when it's hard, especially when it's boring, especially when it feels like nothing's changing. That's where most people stop, but that's where winners begin, because they understand excellence is not an act. It's a habit. What you do today matters, even if it feels small, even if no one notices. The way you do the small things is the way you do everything. Cut corners in the little things and it shows up in the big ones. Stay sharp in the small things and you build a foundation that can't be shaken. The gym you go to when you don't feel like it. The early morning you get up to read or think. The hour of focused work when everyone else is distracted. These are the bricks of success. And when you stack them day by day, the results will come. Not overnight, but inevitably. Because success is not a sprint. It's a rhythm. It's what you repeat, not what you occasionally do. If you can be faithful in the small, you will grow into the great. No one sees the roots growing underground, but they hold up the tallest trees. So don't underestimate the little things. The 5 minutes of focus, the 10 pages read, the one habit done right. Do them and do them again, then do them again, then do them again tomorrow. That's how success is built, not by chance, but by choice. Everyday discipline outweighs talent when it comes to long-term success. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline is what keeps you in the race. It's not about how gifted you are. It's about how committed you are. Plenty of talented people never make it. Because they rely on talent alone, they think it's enough to be naturally good. But natural ability can only take you so far. Without discipline, talent fades. Without structure, skill weakens. Without effort, even the most gifted fall behind. Discipline is what sharpens your edge. It's what turns potential into power. It's what separates the ones who start strong from the ones who finish strong. Discipline is waking up when you'd rather sleep. It's showing up when you feel uninspired. It's sticking to the plan, especially when you don't feel like it. Talent is exciting, but discipline is dependable. And in the long run, it's the dependable ones who win. Because they do the work, day after day. They train when no one's watching. They keep going long after others have stopped. You don't need to be the most gifted. You just need to be consistent. You just need to do the right things even when they're hard. Especially when they're hard. Discipline is a decision to do what matters over what's easy. To choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. To keep your word to yourself even when it's inconvenient. The truth is, talent without discipline is wasted. But discipline without talent, that's unstoppable. Because disciplined people build momentum. They get a little better each day. They don't rely on feeling ready. They act and the feelings follow. That's the secret. It's not about being extraordinary. It's about being consistent with the ordinary. Discipline doesn't shout. It whispers. It says to do it again and again and again until the habit becomes identity, until the process becomes progress, until the dream becomes reality, until the reality. In the long run, discipline always wins. Because talent may open the door, but only discipline will keep you inside. Comfort and distractions are disguised enemies of progress. They don't shout like obstacles. They whisper like invitations. They seem harmless, soft, convenient, easy. But slowly, they pull you away from your purpose. Comfort tells you to relax when you should be rising. It tells you you've done enough when you've barely started. It convinces you that tomorrow is a better day to begin. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And suddenly, the dream is still a dream, and you're still in the same place. Distractions are even trickier. They feel urgent. They feel entertaining. They give you a momentary high, but steal your long-term growth. They come in many forms. your phone, your feed, your fear of missing out. They don't block the path. They just keep you from ever stepping onto it. Every time you choose distraction, you postpone your potential. Every time you choose comfort, you deny your calling. Progress isn't comfortable. It's uncomfortable by nature. It stretches you. It challenges you. It demands your attention, your energy, your focus. But the mind loves ease. It seeks shortcuts. It craves certainty. So it feeds you the lie that comfort is peace, that distractions are harmless. But in truth, they are delays in disguise. The cost of comfort is the growth you never achieve. The cost of distraction is the life you never build. You don't need to suffer to succeed, but you do need to get uncomfortable. You do need to get focused. You do need to trade temporary ease for lasting fulfillment. That's the choice successful people make. They resist the pull of comfort. They silence the noise of distraction. They stay present in the process, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. So be careful what you allow in. Not every comfort serves you. Not every distraction deserves your time. Protect your mind, guard your energy, and remind yourself daily, what feels good now may cost you later. Progress lives on the edge of discomfort, and every breakthrough begins the moment you stop giving in to distraction. Failure often comes from neglecting foundational daily habits, not from one big mistake, not from some dramatic collapse, but from small daily choices that go unnoticed. Until it's too late. We often wait for big moments to define our success or failure. But the truth is, it's the things we do every single day that shape our future. Not occasionally. Not when we feel like it. Consistently. It's the habit of waking up early or sleeping in. The habit of reading and learning, or scrolling and wasting time. The habit of setting goals or drifting without direction. Small decisions, repeated, ignored, and they compound quietly. Neglect is silent. It doesn't show up overnight. It builds over time. And one day, you look around and wonder how you ended up so far from where you wanted to be. You didn't fall. You faded, little by little, because you stopped doing the basics. The foundational habits are never glamorous. They're simple, but they're not easy. They require discipline, focus, and intention. They are the building blocks of every success story. And when they're missing, even the most talented, the most driven, the most inspired fall short. You can't skip the basics and expect greatness. You can't neglect the roots and expect the tree to grow. It just doesn't work that way. The small things matter. Your morning routine, your attitude, your focus, your self-talk, your commitment to keep promises to yourself. When you stop tending to the basics, you invite chaos. And chaos doesn't always look like failure right away. Sometimes it looks like a busy. Sometimes it looks like a later. But over time, it becomes a too late. So ask yourself, what habits have I let slip? What small actions have I ignored? What foundational things do I need to return to? Because success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows when no one's watching, when the world is quiet, when it's just you and the choice to do what needs to be done. Failing to honor your daily habits is like building a house with no foundation. Eventually, it all collapses. Not because it wasn't a good house, but because the basics were never solid. Success begins quietly and grows through repeated effort. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It doesn't announce itself. It begins in silence, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the hours when no one is clapping and no one is watching. It starts small, with a single step, with a single choice, with one simple act of discipline done right, then done again. There's no sudden moment when it all comes together. No magic switch that turns effort into achievement overnight. It's the repetition that makes it real. It's the commitment to doing the work long after the excitement is gone. You don't become great in a day. You become great by doing good things daily. You build momentum through rhythm, not rush. You create progress through patience, not pressure. The first time you show up, nothing happens. The second time, still quiet. The third time, maybe a flicker. But over time, the silence gives way to strength. The effort starts to echo, and the results begin to show. But only for those who keep going. Only for those who understand that success isn't found. It's earned. Not by intensity, but by consistency. Not by talent, but by tenacity. It's easy to be excited in the beginning. It's hard to keep going when the results are invisible. But that's where the foundation is laid. That's where you separate wishful thinking from real commitment. If you only show up when you feel like it, you'll never reach it. If you only work when it's convenient, you'll never break through. Because success doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most consistent. See, repetition builds confidence. Repetition builds skill. Repetition builds character. And over time, it builds a life you're proud of. No one may see your grind at first. No one may notice the small things you do right. But eventually it shows in how you walk, in how you think, in what you become. Success grows in silence, but one day it speaks for itself, loudly, clearly, and undeniably. But people fail not because they can't, but because they don't stick with it. It's not a matter of ability. It's a matter of endurance. Most people have what it takes to succeed. They just don't stay long enough to see it happen. They start strong. They dream big. They take the first step, but when things get slow or tough or boring, they walk away. Not because they couldn't do it, but because they stopped doing it. They give up when the excitement fades. They quit when the results take too long. They convince themselves it wasn't meant to be. But the truth is, it was. They just didn't stick around to find out. Every worthwhile goal will test you. It will stretch you. It will demand more than you expected. And if you're not willing to stay through the storms, you'll never reach the sunshine. Consistency beats talent. Persistence beats luck. And showing up day after day, especially when it's hard, is what sets the successful apart. The process is never perfect. There are setbacks. There are delays. There are days when everything feels pointless. But the people who make it, the ones you admire, they didn't avoid the struggle. They pushed through it. They didn't always feel strong. They just refused to stop. It's easy to start. It's easy to say, I want this. It's staying in the game when the odds are against you. That's where winners are made. You don't fail because you're weak. You fail when you stop fighting. You fail when you stop believing. You fail when you decide it's not worth the effort anymore. But if you keep going, even slowly, even clumsily, progress finds you. Doors begin to open. Skills begin to sharpen. And suddenly you're closer than you ever imagined. Success takes time. And most people aren't patient enough to earn it. But you can be. You can choose to stay, to show up again, to try one more time. Because if you stick with it long enough, you'll prove to yourself that you could all along. There's a cost to success: work, patience, persistence, and sacrifice. Everyone wants the reward. Everyone wants the result. But few are willing to pay the price. Success is never handed out freely. It demands something from you, not just once, but over and over again. You have to work when you're tired. You have to push when others rest. You have to show up, even when no one claps, no one notices, and no one encourages you. That's the work, and it doesn't pay off instantly. Success doesn't move on your schedule. It arrives when it's earned. And that takes time. That's the patience. You will be tested. You will face doubt. You will face doubt. You will experience failure, rejection, frustration. And in those moments, quitting will seem easier. But quitting is a debt that never stops collecting. You have to keep going, even when it hurts, even when progress is invisible, even when the only voice cheering you on is your own. That's the persistence. And as you grow, you'll lose some things: comfort, free time, approval from people who don't understand your vision. You'll have to say no to distractions. You'll have to let go of old habits that no longer serve you. That's the sacrifice. But that's the price of something greater, of building a life most people only dream about, of reaching a level where effort becomes impact, where pain turns into purpose, where your daily discipline creates freedom. Nothing meaningful is free, and that's what makes it valuable. The struggle gives it weight. The sacrifice gives it depth. Anyone can want success. Few are willing to earn it because it requires more than desire. It requires character. It requires grit. It requires the ability to keep moving when everything inside you says stop. But the beautiful thing is this: if you pay the price, you'll own the reward. And no one can take that from you, and excuses and results cannot coexist. You must choose one. You can either explain why you didn't do it, or you can show what you've accomplished. But you can't have both. Excuses feel good in the moment. They protect your ego. They help you justify inaction. But they never move you forward. They keep you safe and stuck, comfortable and average. Every time you make an excuse, you trade progress for peace of mind. You tell yourself a story that makes failure feel acceptable. But excuses never build anything. They only delay the life you say you want. You can blame your schedule. You can blame your past. You can blame your circumstances. But blame never brings breakthrough. Results come from action, from ownership, from standing up and saying, no more excuses. I'll find a way. The moment you stop explaining why you can't, you begin discovering how you can. It's not about being perfect. It's about being responsible, owning your choices, owning your effort, owning your outcome. The world doesn't reward reasons. It rewards results. It honors those who follow through, who keep their word, who show up despite the obstacles. There's always going to be a reason to wait, always going to be a reason to stop. But the successful tune those reasons out. They stay focused on the result. They stay loyal to the goal because they know one truth. You can have excuses or you can have results, not both. So ask yourself, which one are you feeding? Which one are you repeating? Which one is guiding your decisions? Because your life reflects what you choose daily. And if you want change, if you want progress, then the excuses must end. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to start, to commit, to do what matters, even when it's hard. Let others explain why they stayed behind. You focus on moving forward, because results don't come to those who talk. They come to those who do. So today, make the choice. Choose responsibility over excuses. Choose discipline over distraction. Choose progress over comfort. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. You just need to keep showing up. Every great life is built one decision at a time. And it starts right now with the decision to rise, to grow, and to never settle again. Because your future isn't waiting for your excuses. It's waiting for your action.